Gabby-san, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for last week, all the interesting things you had told us about how you start with the Lindy Hojinkai and how you get involved with the Lindy Hojinkai and your company too. Now, I'm just kind of curious about, from your American born and how do you understand or get the feeling about this, especially Lindy Hojinkai is a very, very I shouldn't say hardcore. It's a very strict Japanese traditional way of thinking, of practicing. And I'm surprised. How did you get used to it? And I would like to know your background, if you don't mind.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it is traditional, isn't it? I want to say I've had a lot of strictness in my upbringing. I was in ballet from a
Really?
very young age. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was in theater. I played the piano. I'm an only child, so my parents made sure that I was able to experience everything. So
And you're not a spoiled, right?
I I feel like I am, but they say that I'm
Uh-oh.
not. But I
Uh-oh.
think, but I only want to give back. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
they did pay a lot of attention to me. While I was growing up too, I learned how to be hard on myself very early too. So
Really?
yeah,
That's
even
amazing. Mm.
even when I was maybe 5 or 6 years old, I was already learning how to be hard on myself.
Mm.
So um, I also grew up in a church. My parents are Christian. They're devout, and my father was the youth group leader. So he teach some of the teenagers about
Mm.
just about the Bible and about the stories. But my dad was never like a traditional, um, I guess, very tight fisted
Mm.
in teaching about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I always had a good experience at the church for the most part. And
Mm.
when I was a teenager, because of all the strictness from dancing and having so many strict teachers in theater and at school, even,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I even rebelled a little bit when I was in high school.
Well, everybody does, doesn't it?
Exactly. I learned how to skateboard in high school. But I always got good grades. I believe I got straight A's. I worked hard. So that learning how to follow, uh, you know, orders and discipline very early kind of helped me accept that later in life.
Mm-hmm.
Without it, I learned how to be very controlling.
Mm.
But after having my own hardship and understanding that that's not the best way to approach life,
Mm-hmm.
I that's when I was able to understand and appreciate in me because I had, a portion of life where I was very ungrateful because I experienced a lot, I feel like, very early and very quickly. Um, and I feel that because I'm Filipino American, um, being a first generation, Filipino and being from San Diego, I was exposed to many different sorts of cultures. And so I feel like learning things very quickly often put me in a rough spot later in life because I guess I took a little bit longer for me to accept things, to understand myself, even. So,
Well, I think, Gabby-san, I think we all the same. We immigrants, kids coming to this country had no choice but experience multi-culture from parents and yourself surrounding, which is American culture. And sometimes it could be very hard for you to try to adapt into the current situation. And meanwhile, you're still bearing your parents' value,
mm,
tradition, teaching. Am I right?
yeah, yes. They taught me some of the principles that aligned with it in me pretty early, honestly. they honor my grandparents very well. My mother was always visiting with my grandmother, so I saw
Oh,
that they
that's
modeled that.
nice. That's nice.
And
Respect your parents, right? Your mother
absolutely,
respects her parents.
yes,
Very
yeah.
good.
And my father always had conversations at the dinner table with his parents, so I was able to see that a lot too.
I see. I
Yeah,
see.
yes. Um, so I think all of that, being aware of those values helped me accept Rini a little bit more, along with my fascination for Japanese culture. So I think all of it, my experiences and my interests and my circumstances all aligned in a way where I understood Rini, and at least trying to understand it as much as possible and practicing it with everyone else. It's nice to have support.
You
So
know, Gabby-san, I always think because Philippines and Japan is basically, after all, it's all Asia, right?
yeah.
Although, although Philippines has been occupied by Spanish and America, but
Yeah.
do you think the Filipino people, Philippine person, or people or race are basically Asian? Do you think?
We are Filipino. We are part of Asia. There's always
But not Asian.
I would, if someone said, "Oh, you're Asian," I'd be like, "Yeah." And
I
then,
see. I see.
yeah, they'd say, "Well, what kind of Asian? What part of Asia?" And I'd say,
Mm.
"Okay, the Philippines." Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
What's the difference from Filipinos and Japanese or Chinese? They're more so-called Asian, but Filipino is a little bit exotic from my point of view.
Right. We are part of Southeast Asia for
I
sure.
see.
I guess amongst our archipelago, we are very diverse looking, especially from,
Mm.
the Spaniards coming for 500 years, the
Wow.
West coming for another 100. So we are a mix within ourselves
I
too.
see. I see. But I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Filipino still maintain or keeps their own value, their traditional value.
Yeah. It
And
stayed alive for sure.
right. Is that a very similar to Japanese value
I
in a
think that
way?
might be it. Yeah.
Really?
Respect and gratitude, honoring your family, your
Mm-hmm.
past and your ancestors,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that cleanliness is next to, I guess, godliness, but knowing that the world is a reflection of your inner self. Yes, I believe Japan and the Philippines have that in common for sure. Yeah.
Good. So since you were born in this country and you have been dealing with all kinds of racial people in this country, because basically this country is all the immigrants from all over the world.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you are used to all kinds of people. And do you think personally, well, since now you become the president of San Diego Lindy Hojinkai chapter president, do you think you can use your knowledge or your practice to kind of influence or tell everybody in your community to join this group?
I'd hope so. I intend to. I'd hope to set an example and to inspire others and influence others. I think it is easy. There's many different kinds of ways of, there's different philosophies and
Mm-hmm.
lifestyles. Um,
Since you have been practicing Rindi, do you think doesn't matter you're Japanese or Filipino or whomever you are, basically Rindi belongs to general human beings' behavior and thinking. Do you think that way?
I do. I think it's definitely universal. Yeah, it's one of those. It's very mindful of all cultures. I think it could be adopted by anyone and everyone. I don't think it doesn't matter your age, your culture,
Mm-hmm.
the practices. Every human being is able to do it. So
Mm.
it's my joy, which I think we all share. We're all able to experience joy, which is the basis of Dini. It's my joy to be able to bridge the gap because I believe there really isn't a gap. I think we might have created one. But if we can create something, we can also take it down if it meant a better future. So
well,
I think it could be a tool.
Yeah. I had learned that the Rinri Hojinkai is basically it's for business owners to practice their thinking ethic behavior in order to improve their business. Am I right?
Yes. Yeah, you are.
So practice the ethics. It doesn't matter which country you are or which language you are. It's basic. It's the same then.
I think it could be applied to every culture. There's 70,000 members across the world, actually.
Wow.
Not only in Japan, but there's also Rini in Taiwan and Rini in Brazil as well. And now in the United States, I believe that means it can be universal. You're right. There's so many different cultures here in the United States.
Right.
That's proof Rini works because it bridges the gap between cultures. So
right, and also I think really basically the basic teaching is human beings' behavior. It doesn't matter which background you came from. Any race of the people behave the same, right?
Yes, it doesn't matter where you come from or where you're going. We're all here on the same planet. We all have the same nervous system. We all were born the same. How we choose our circumstances is something that I learned pretty late. But thanks to Dini, I'm inspired to inspire others to retake and reclaim their ability to choose and be joyful about their circumstances because we're all able to feel joy. All of us, it doesn't matter. We are all able to feel gratitude. We're all able to feel pain. So that means we can all really at the base understand each other.
Right. We all share the same, right? When the joy, pain, or maybe anger, you name it. As a human being, we are the same. But we learn really we learn how to control ourselves, how to behave ourselves from Rindi's teaching. Is that how it goes?
It teaches us first that there could be an imbalance and therefore our world could be very difficult. Then these practices helps us remember that we can be balanced and we have the power to be balanced. Wow. And then he has they're pragmatic, they're very practical. And so if you practice those with diligence and knowing that the results are going to come, then they tend to happen. So
good. It's nice to hear about it. Well, it's a commercial time again. So after that, can you tell us some more about what you're doing right now with your organization?
Sure. Thank you.
Gabby-san, this September, you just got elected to be the president of San Diego Rinri Hojinkai. And I believe you have almost 3 years duty to lead this organization. And can you tell us what your goal is?
I want to expand. I want to have 50 to 100 members in San Diego. But let's start with, baby steps.
Step by step, huh?
Step by step. I want to build more awareness around Rini. I want to be able to help with any translations of essence with the literature. I want to have more conversations with people so that I can learn how Rini works. And so I can help bridge the gap between American culture and the Japanese culture with Rini, so we can integrate it and be a more unified nation, especially in a time of a lot of separation.
from our conversation, I realized that basically maybe Rindi is not just only Japanese. It should be universal, like you have been saying. It's a universal concept of value. And if that's the case, I'm pretty sure in America it shouldn't be that hard. Try to explain to the community. And basically, is everybody can practice or can behave right or think right. It will influence the next door, next neighbor or co-worker or people in the community. And eventually, this whole society should be a very, what you call that, peaceful, prosperous, and a positive way of the society. Do you think so?
I would hope so. I would want that. I would also want that for future generations.
Right. So before you join this organization, how many members do you have right now?
We have a whopping, it's 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Regular
And,
members. Yeah.
Right. So basically, although we only have 9 members right now, but hey, you're still young and you still have a long future to go. And I'm pretty sure with your uh, ability and passion, and I'm pretty sure you can bring more and more people to join your group to learn Rindi. Although Rindi doesn't just because belong to Japanese or something, it should belong to the whole world, I believe. Am I right?
I think it should belong to the whole world too. I think it should be a worldwide thing. Yeah. I hope in the time that I'm able to grow with Rini, the concept also grows into American culture and with the help of Japanese flavor and until it becomes a whole accepted cultural phenomenon. It's happened before. I don't see why it can't happen again.
Right. With the Japanese culture, anime and the tea ceremony and you name it, right? Japanese sushi and ramen, everything. So many things from Japan. I mean, the people in the world so love the Japan's culture, Japan's everything so much. You know how many people visiting Japan every year? Do you know?
You have to tell me. Do you know the number? So many, right?
Yeah, 23 million people.
Yes.
Visiting Japan.
Yes, it's a beautiful country.
That's almost a quarter of Japanese population.
Yeah. It's mostly tourists every year.
Right. That tells you,
there's something about it. Yeah.
Yes, Japanese culture, Japanese, whatever that is, must be something right. Otherwise, who would come to the country, right?
Yeah.
And this Rindi was born in that country almost 80 years ago.
Almost 80 years ago, yeah.
And it's still existing. And I heard that in Japan, the members increasing and they expand into the overseas and such as your organization in San Diego. And I believe Los Angeles chapter and the Orange chapter are in Japanese, but only San Diego in English. Am I right?
Yes, we are the first all English chapter in its history.
Wow.
However, Orange County does have like a once a month English seminar.
See.
So
I see.
Yes.
Why Rindi Hojinkai pick up San Diego as an English chapter?
We had more at one point. We had more English speakers than Japanese speakers in the company. Yeah, in the organization for San Diego. At one point, yeah. We all are either bilingual or we're able to speak English. So not only we can share and learn each other's language in that manner. If someone in Hojinkai wanted to join and learn English, they have the option of joining San Diego. So they can practice English as well.
By the way, were you born in San Diego? Your parents came from Philippines to San Diego, settled there?
So no, my dad, well, yes and no. My dad's side is mostly they were in the Bay Area to begin with. My parents met in Los Angeles, and my mother's side of the family came to San Diego sometime in the
Oh,
80s.
I
Yeah.
see. I
I was
see.
born in the Bay Area, and then I had
Oh,
most of
really?
my, yeah, most of my upbringing here in San Diego.
I see. Don't you, somehow I'm not too familiar with San Diego, but somehow I felt San Diego is a international city. Am I right? Because you have a port, you have
Yeah,
military base there.
military, Navy, and
Right,
Marines. Yes, we
right.
are an international port. Yeah,
That's what I thought. So you must have a lot, all kinds of people from all over the world live in that city.
always. Maybe not as many as the
Huh?
visitors in Japan, but
Oh
we
no,
do have a lot of tourists coming for
right,
sure.
right.
Yeah, it's a tourist
But
spot. It is a tourist
hmm
city. Yes.
right, right.
Yeah.
So do you think Rindy could be settled in the San Diego and for San Diego people?
Yes. I think San Diego is it continues to be very open minded, I believe. Even
I see.
the 20 years of me living here and growing up here, it has changed a lot. However, if there's a true spirit of San Diego, and someone can argue with me about this, but it is about being open minded. We're very open minded. If you're a
Mhm.
local, you can tell. It's how open minded you are. And
Really?
try everything just once, you know?
Mm.
And Disney, I believe it's easy. It's easy to fall in love with if you come from an open mind.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. No judgment, just try it. Just try it, you know?
I see. What
Yeah.
would you what would you tell the people who never had any background about what Lindy is all about to understand and to join your group and to study together? What do you think? Or what is your
Maybe a definition or
right, right.
okay. So I believe Disney is a lifestyle. I believe it's
Oh, lifestyle. I got
yeah,
it. Okay.
it's a lifestyle. I believe it's a set of practices and it is a philosophy. I believe it is a mindset. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a religion. It's not some life coaching seminar. There's a lot of those, right? It's not a sales seminar. It's not any of those. It's a community of people who have realized that some basic practices conjure things like money, good family,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
good food, even, and it's a lifestyle and it's a choice. So
Mm.
I think that's what Indie is, and if you are someone who believes that you could be part of something bigger than yourself, and you believe that your mission as a owner or entrepreneur or just human being, you can just sense that there's something that gives us purpose. Dinny seeks to put that into practice.
I see, I see.
Yeah.
So it
So
doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, you can start at any time.
to practice, it doesn't matter. Yeah. To join the
Mhm.
membership, I think you need to have a little bit more experience on you, but there is different organizations. There's a family Dinny, which is still in Japanese. I'm not quite sure if there's a future um, plan to make that multilingual, but there's also Rini for the corporate world and the executive world. There's Rini for the family world, and Rini for the environment, where it's for climates and you know cleaning up the beaches. All those sorts of activities are involved in World Rini, and um, the purpose of it all, why I think it's a lifestyle, is because it's all inclusive, and I think San Diegans and the U.S. would benefit a lot from remembering that all of those are connected.
Mm.
So
Okay, so Rindy is basically not only just your so-called self-discipline, should I say?
it's definitely not that. Yeah, no,
Not
it's definitely.
self-discipline.
Oh, please forgive me. I didn't hear you. Self discipline.
Yeah,
You said sales
self-discipline.
something.
And
Self
then
discipline.
eventually, if you can discipline yourself very well, you can influence your family member, your coworker, or sometimes your social members, social community members, and eventually, well, hopefully the whole world will toward the peace and a nice goal. And also, like you just said, the environment is another very important issue, isn't it? Because
Yes.
we live in this earth, we have to cherish this earth.
Yes. Yep.
Did you say San Diego has beach cleaning activities?
We do. Some of those we're actually going to be helping clean up the beaches here in San
How
Diego.
nice. When is that going to be?
In October. Actually, it's this month. Yeah. And there's
Oh.
one in November as
Really?
well. So we're
Really?
trying to be frequent about these. Yeah.
Right. Also bring the people in the community join together, because doesn't matter what kind of people, what race you are, we all live in this earth. We share this earth's natural resources. We have to cherish it, isn't it?
I agree. 100%.
So Lindy is also not only just 7 o'clock in the morning study and discipline yourself, but also care about your surrounding environment. Am I right?
It's true. While it might be it could be, it does take discipline to be able to get yourself up before the sun, but with the intention that you are part of an entire ecosystem, it helps us remember that we're taking care of each other by first taking care of ourselves, by first waking up early in the morning, and
Right.
therefore, creating a better future. I think we need it, especially now.
Right. So we're all the members of this beautiful earth, right?
It's true. Yes, it is a universal thing. We do share it.
Right. Thank you so much, Gabby-san. It was
so
wonderful 2 weeks conversation, and I wish you luck and good luck on the San Diego Lindy Hojinkai too. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.